So, in conclusion, I definitely feel that from here on out, in pretty much every math class I'm going to be teaching, I will be assigning homework, collecting it, grading it, and returning it with feedback. It was pretty clear in the first chapter assessment alone, with a 7% grade difference, that I feel that homework had a deeper impact. I noticed that when I was going over questions at the beginning of class, that there were more insightful questions. There were also less questions. That of the questions I heard, they were of a higher quality, and they weren't just, can I see number 4 or number 7 done? It was, I got to this point in this question, and then I wasn't sure where to go from there. It allowed me to take their homework, throw it under a document camera, and then we could all learn from what the student had done correctly or incorrectly. That really increased my instruction in the classroom, and it was all driven from the students, and it was all possible because the expectation was that the homework was going to be done, and if they didn't do it, it would negatively affect their grade. In the first semester, I tried to do that, but there wasn't enough of a buy-in to try the homework, and those that even came to one roadblock would just skip it because there's no harm. They would just ask me the next day. They wouldn't actually try it themselves. And what most educators have realized is that a student will listen to you explain it, and then they feel that they understand it, so therefore they know it. But they can't actually prove to themselves and to others that they know it until they're trying on their own, and they're able to do it on their own. So by giving homework, that's ensuring that they have a situation where they have to try it on their own. Now, with the homework, it's fluid. So if I'm assigning homework, I know that I might switch up and do a review of homework assignment. So here's a homework assignment, it didn't go well, but here's a refresher. Let's try it again. So that I definitely feel was important in the survey. My biggest worry about it was that students would feel put off by the homework. They would feel stressed by the homework. That I would get a pushback from assigning homework. Instead, what I found is that of the students that I was able to obtain their responses, that most students felt very positive and optimistic towards their experience. Most students had expressed to me that they appreciated having homework, and they really liked the fact that they knew that I was looking at it and I was giving feedback where needed. Now, what I have not said in this presentation, but it is in my manuscript, is that with semester 2, we had the COVID pandemic, so a lot of things had to move on to remote learning. Now, of the data that I had collected, majority of it had happened in class, but as we kept going through the remote learning, I continued to assign homework, and I continued to give daily feedback to all my students. As a result, I had a tremendous buy-in, and more students were asking questions and were trying every single day because they knew that I was looking at what they were producing. I would not be looking at what they're producing unless I was grading it. It is a lot of time and effort to go through every single assignment, every single question, check to see if it's right, and then to write the feedback. So not only does it motivate my students to do more work and to work harder, but it held me to a higher standard because I knew that they were depending on me to give them the feedback so that they too could grow. If they submitted an assignment and I did not respond back, why would they keep trying? If I can't even give them feedback, I realized that they're not going to stay bought in to my philosophy. They're only going to continue to try as I continue to try. So that was definitely a big takeaway from me, and I really appreciated the positive attitudes of both semesters, but especially semester 2. So my biggest takeaways would be those, and I definitely feel that homework has a very strong impact in the classroom, and it is up to the teacher to make sure that that homework is impactful and also is appropriate for where you're at in the lesson, and it never becomes just a mundane chore for the students. It needs to impact them on a personal level, And if a student is struggling, there needs to be a homework assignment to support their struggles. And if a student is moving ahead, there needs to be a homework assignment that maybe challenges them a little bit more so that they are still working on their skills, but they're able to explore a more in-depth problem.